The sky broke open. How Israel's massive strike on Iran has redefined the balance of power. 1. A strike of unprecedented scale. What began as whispers of tactical engagement has now become one of the most daring and escalatory military operations in the modern Middle East. Israel has launched a massive multi-wave airstrike into Iranian territory, targeting not just nuclear infrastructure, but the very command centers of Iran's strategic doctrine. Far from a surgical raid, the scale is astonishing. Over 200 fighter jets reportedly involved. 5 waves of consecutive bombing. Use of weapons-grade drones to disable Iranian air defenses from within. This isn't just a preemptive operation. It is a message to the world, loud, unapologetic, and rooted in decades of Israeli doctrine. We will act first to ensure survival. 2. The targets, more than just concrete. The Israeli jets struck apartment complexes, suspected safe houses, and, critically, the Natanz nuclear facility, a long-standing centerpiece of Iran's uranium enrichment program. What's striking is the claim that Israel doesn't even possess US-grade bunker-buster bombs, yet may have succeeded in damaging underground enrichment facilities through repeated precision bombardments. This would be a technical and strategic marvel, echoing tactics seen in high-risk combat operations. Among the dead are top nuclear scientists, IRGC commanders, and reportedly a chief aide to the Ayatollah, though details remain fluid. 3. The strategy behind the attack. This wasn't just brute force. Israel allegedly smuggled weapons-grade drones into Iranian territory, much like Ukraine's tactics against Russia, to neutralize air defenses in advance. This operation shows not only military boldness but deep infiltration capability within Iran's internal security apparatus, possibly aided by internal dissent or even active sabotage. It is also worth noting, while official channels say Israel acted alone, the fingerprints of US intelligence are all over this, from weapons systems to pre-strike intelligence. For the Iran's disarray, silence, confusion, and retaliation. In the aftermath, Iran's government appeared visibly disoriented. Early statements were retracted. New leadership names were shuffled. Key nuclear program architects are confirmed dead. There is internal confusion, and that in itself signals the success of Israel's strike. The Iranian regime now faces a fork in the road. Retaliate and risk all-out war it may not survive. Restrain itself and face domestic embarrassment and geopolitical humiliation. So far, drone attacks have been launched against Israel but intercepted. No full-scale counter-assault has yet been confirmed. But Hezbollah and other proxies are being quietly armed and mobilized. 5. Trump's ultimatum and the U.S. position. In a surprising twist, former President Trump publicly claimed he had issued a 60-day ultimatum to Iran, coinciding with the current timeline. While official U.S. sources deny involvement, Trump's remarks, coupled with advanced U.S. weapons in Israeli hands, raised the specter of covert American complicity. Despite the Biden administration's silence, the operation feels increasingly like a coordinated axis of influence between U.S. and Israeli defense structures, long in preparation. 6. The economic fallout, oil, gas, and the Leviathan shutdown. Markets responded immediately. Brent oil spiked 8%. Western blends jumped nearly 9%. Short sellers scrambled to cover positions. Natural gas field Leviathan, Israel's biggest, was shut down temporarily, threatening energy supplies to Egypt and Jordan. While analysts suggest long-term oil prices may stabilize, worst-case forecasts predict a range of $75 to $130 per barrel if the conflict spreads, especially with Hezbollah and Houthis involved. So far, no major damage to oil infrastructure has been confirmed, but the market's nerves are visible. 7. Nuclear diplomacy, dead in the rubble. Iran has announced it will no longer pursue advanced nuclear negotiations with the U.S. That may be symbolic, but it confirms what many feared. The JCPOA is dead. Diplomacy is over. What remains is the law of preemption. Memes are already circulating. No need for talks, we bombed all your facilities. Cynical? Perhaps. But also a reflection of how diplomacy has collapsed under the weight of hardened ideology and missed opportunities. 8. What happens next? 3 fronts of danger. Of internal retaliation in Iran. Iran may attempt to rebuild quickly, purging internal dissidents and portraying the strike as a sacrificial moment of national resistance. B. Proxy escalation. Hezbollah, Houthis, and Hamas remnants may now be mobilized not for strategic gain, but to bleed Israel, drain its resources, and provoke international backlash. C. Global tension. Any Israeli strike near Tehran or further assassination of senior figures may bring Russia and China closer to Iran in opposition to U.S. and Israeli actions, creating a geopolitical fracture line not seen since the Cold War. 9. Final thoughts, a redefined battlefield. What Israel has done is redefined the terms of confrontation. No longer is it reactive. No longer is it hesitant. This is an Israel that is proactive, assertive, and willing to accept regional condemnation for the sake of strategic survival. Iran, meanwhile, must now decide whether to absorb the hit, escalate in controlled ways, or plunge into open war. The United States, for now, watches from a distance, but its shadow looms large over every drone strike, every warhead dropped. We may have just witnessed the opening act of a new Middle Eastern war, not one of occupation, but of precision, subterfuge, and high-tech attrition. You've been watching Breaking War, where strategy, clarity, and conflict meet. If you found value in this analysis, don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications. We don't just follow the war, we explain what it means. Until next time, stay alert, stay informed, and stay critical.